Well, it's really nice being on first name basis with the deputies that answer the phone.
Uh-huh.
Helps a lot.
Yeah.
Helps with traffic tickets too. 'Cause I got fire department license plates on my car. When you're in fire service, you get to get a license plate. Says that you're a firefighter.
Yeah.
And I never gave mine up when I retired. So I still got fire department license plates on my car.
Right.
Yeah.
You probably don't get pulled over much.
No, not much.
Yeah.
No.
And when I do, I get out of it.
Yeah.
I got stopped once in Alamosa at nighttime for by an Alamosa cop for a dim license plate light bulb. And he asked for the registration, and I gave it to him, and he said, "Oh, firefighter, sorry to bother you, ma'am. Have a nice evening."
Yeah.
Les says he gets that with his veterans plates too.
Yep.
Yeah, DV plates will do it. You don't get pulled over with dealer's plates either,
Right.
out of experience.
Yeah, and taxi cab drivers don't get pulled over either.
Nope.
I did that for a while.
Yeah.
That's where I learned to swear.
Oh.
Kind of funny story. I was 19 and hot and well educated and well dressed and clean and well groomed and good manners and could speak proper English. And I did a good job driving a cab, and I got the worst tips of anybody in the whole fleet.
Really?
And I couldn't understand it. This was back, I don't know, back in the late 60s, early 70s. And that was when they sent out welfare checks in the mail twice a month instead of all the electronic shit. And on the check day, we used to call it Mother's Day because all the welfare babes would want us to go take them to the grocery store and wait for them, but don't put the meter on time. And they wait for the dime change for the 90-cent fare, right? And we worked 6 days, 12-hour shift. And I was on my 6th day at the last half hour of my shift. One of the other things that used to happen was whenever I got a passenger in my cab that was about my parents' age, they would say things like, "Oh, what's a nice girl like you doing driving a taxi cab?"
Yeah.
And I would say, "Well, you know, it's honest work and the economy's not in great shape," and give them a very polite, correct answer. And that one day,
And it's getting cool enough that the bugs are going to die down and smoke.
got in my car and asked me that question, and I turned around and I said, "I'm paying the fucking rent. What do you think, asshole?" And I got the best tip I ever had.
Yeah.
And I experimented around over the next couple months with different levels
Bringing Mariah too.
swearing and politeness and rudeness and trying to figure out what's going on here. And what I figured out is that if you're a cab driver and other jobs as well, it's not how well you do your job that matters. What matters is how well you meet their expectations
I
of what
reiterated
they think
too.
you should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a good life here.
Yeah.
I do.
How long did you say you've been here now?
20 years, last
20
September
years.
26th.
Yeah.
I worked for that Mason in Oakland for 2 years. Saving up, and I was also involved in working a pot grow, and I worked in another place in a pot business, and I ended up getting ripped off and swindled out, and I got here with nothing.
Yeah.
And like I said, I had that insurance settlement, about 40 grand. But even that house you can't build on 40 grand.
Yeah.
It was a pay-as-you-go deal.
Yeah.
And a lot of help from my friends and some help from George. And I'm really pleased. 20 years later, we got all this shit, and no mortgage. Oh my God. It's awesome. And I got my little sewing shop. I want to show you my shop before you go.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I'd like to see it.
Also, I have a whole tub full of patches.
Yeah.
I have lots of sewing notions and accessories, and I have a pretty good stock. I've been collecting stock for the sewing shop for like
Yeah.
5 years.
I'll trade you one. I'll give you one of my.
Well, I wanted to give you one.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I'll get it out when we go over to the shop. You can just rummage through and
Sure. Yeah, I'd like that.
Take one that suits you.
Yeah.
I don't know you well enough to know what to pick out to give to you. So
Right.
You just get to take your pick. And I will get to know you.
Yeah.
You know, I have to tell you, you're a good guest.
Thank you.
You're a good guest.
Yeah.
You fit in, you're comfortable, you know how to behave. It's just really nice having you here.
Well, thank you.
And not everybody's a good guest.
Yeah. Not everybody's a good host either. So
Yeah, right,
you guys have been good hosts. So.
Okay. Yeah, hospitality is important to me.
Yeah.
It's one of the oldest of social interactions right here. At the
I was
fire.
gonna say next to telling stories by a campfire.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, back in the 100,000 years ago when we're living in caves and trees and whatever, somebody comes here from a village 40 miles away. First thing you do is you offer them food, water, and a place by the fire.
Yep.
You know, that's basic.
Yeah. It's funny how that's still kind of ingrained too. Like it changed because of technology and stuff like that, but it's still, at the root of it, you still do the same thing.
It is, and I think actually fire is one of the things that helps people be mentally healthy. I feel so bad for people who live in cities. They never see the moon.
Mm-hmm.
They never see the stars. They never sit by a fire. They don't know who their neighbors are.
Mm-hmm.
No wonder they're fucking insane. You know?
Right.
This is a good life here.
Yeah.
At some point, we need to bring out the fireworks box so we can shoot off some fireworks.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you can see an awful lot of stars out here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and when it's new moon, there's so many.
Yeah.
I remember when I was a little kid, I tried to figure out what infinity was.
Yeah.
It's a really difficult concept, and even as an adult, it's kind of unfathomable. And I tried to figure out, well, how big is the universe? Well, it's enormous, but if you think of the entire universe as this one that we're in, as only one molecule of oil on the skin of an orange, and the orange is only a molecule on the skin of something bigger, and you just keep going and going, and after a while your mind breaks
Yeah.
because you can't get to infinity with this brain. But looking at the stars is pretty good.
It's pretty close.
Yep. Yep. I'm so glad these two are together.
Yeah. They fit really well.
They do.
Yeah.
They do. And the first time she came to visit, a couple of years ago, I guess now, she and I hit it off, and I thought, oh, good. Jesus, the last thing she needs is to find a man she wants and hate his mother who lives there. That'd be bad, really bad. But we hit it off instantly. Well, here's another story for you. When I was in high school, we lived in Providence, Rhode Island, and I ended up in 10th grade in a private school. And then in my senior year, my parents moved from Rhode Island to Nebraska.
Yeah.
But I wanted to finish my senior year in that school. So they got me a job as a live-in nanny, and I stayed in Providence for that year. And then after the year was up and I graduated, they came and got me, and we had friends also that lived in Providence. That was the Miyazakis. He was a visiting professor from Japan that was working at Brown University studying wave mechanics. And his sabbatical was up and they were heading back to Japan, and their flight was out of Salt Lake City. So my parents drove east from Nebraska. They rounded up the Miyazakis, Mr. and Mrs., and me, and my cousin Russell, who was the same age as me, 16, 17. And we had a 6-week road trip that summer. And we just hit all the highlights.
Yeah.
Thousand Islands, Niagara Falls, Painted Desert. We went down to Four Corners. We went to the Tabernacle in Salt Lake City. We did all kinds of shit. Mount Rushmore. And one of the places that we camped was Maroon Bells.
Yeah, where's that?
It's in northern Colorado, and I don't know exactly where, but your phone will tell you.
Right.
And it's absolutely gorgeous. And there was, it's also a pretty high altitude where you drive up to an altitude to get to where the campground is. And there was a beaver pond there on a little brook that was snow melt. And on the uphill side of the brook, there was a huge log, this big around, that had fallen over. So it was like an enclosed pond. It was the dam downhill and this big log bridge uphill. And we decided we were going to go swimming in that. And it was the coldest water I ever jumped in, colder than the North Atlantic, which I've jumped in a lot as a kid.
Yeah.
And we realized afterwards that at an altitude only 50 feet higher than where we were, there was snow on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And that was what was feeding the pond. No wonder it was fucking cold. But we had an adventure on that trip that was a real profound eye-opener experience for me. We were crossing Montana, I think. And we're in a Rambler station wagon, okay? It's 1964. We got 6 of us crammed in a Rambler station wagon. All the camping gear in the back and on the roof, and all the baggage for our friends going back to Japan. So we are like fucking loaded. And no elbow room either.
Yeah.
And we had a flat tire in the middle of nowhere. It was 50 miles back to the town we went through and 50 miles ahead to the next town. And the spare is under the baggage in the cargo compartment. So they had to unload the whole car, right? Pile it up on the roadside, get out the spare tire and put the spare on. And then they had a powwow whether or not it made sense to load it all back in and go to the town and take it out.
All right, Wes just scooped G. He'll be here in like a few minutes.
Okay.
And he's bringing Mariah too.
Okay.
Awesome.
So they decided the sensible thing to do was just leave me and my cousin there, sitting by the stuff on the roadside, go get the tire fixed, and then come back from us and load up the car again once. And that was fine. We didn't have a problem with that. We're 17.
Right.
But, so Russell's sitting on the pile of stuff. I gotta go take a pee. And in that part of Montana, the road is like this, every half mile, and little gullies and ups and downs. And so I go down the embankment into a gully by the side of the road and take a pee. And I'm standing there and looking around, and it's low enough from the road that behind me I can't see the road. There's no road back there.
Yeah.
There's also no telephone poles, no buildings, no fences. And in a matter of 15 seconds, I realized that there was nothing in my field of view that was man-made. I could only see just the earth. Nothing that humans had done. I couldn't see the road. And that was fairly profound. I don't think a lot of people Nobody in cities certainly, but
Yeah.
even people elsewhere, a lot of people have not had that experience, and it changes you. It's really it's connected to what I was trying to say about infinity before.